released on Udemy. Just look at the URL for this course and you'll notice that I secured the coveted slot of udemy.com/chatgpt. It is so important that you thousands of students online, and this is the first ChatGPT course that was released on Udemy. Just look at the URL for this course and you'll notice that I secured the coveted slot of udemy.com/chatgpt. It is so important that you learn to use ChatGPT effectively in order to future-proof your skills and to attain relevance in your career. Simply put, if you don't learn ChatGPT, you will fall far behind the competition because ChatGPT has taken the world by storm. In fact, it is the fastest platform to reach 100 million users. That's in the history of all computing. So ChatGPT has crossed the chasm for AI into the mainstream and is ushering in the fourth industrial revolution. In this course, I will take you from ChatGPT beginner to power user in no time. You will learn how to leverage ChatGPT to elevate your communication skills, advance your career, overcome technological challenges, as well as using ChatGPT for coding. I will introduce many ChatGPT advanced techniques and use cases to boost your productivity and skills to a higher level. So don't delay and enroll today in the complete ChatGPT course. I'll see you inside. You can sign up for a free ChatGPT account by going to OpenAI.com. Now, at the time of this recording, they have a try link here, which when clicking on that, that will take you to chat.openai.com and then /auth/login. I'll link to this in the resources section down below. Once you have an account, you can click login, but to sign up for a free account, you're going to click on sign up. I'll link to this as well. And you will want to enter in your email address and also specify in the reCAPTCHA that you're not a robot. You may be challenged to identify a certain shape. Here I've got chimneys. I don't know if this is a chimney or not. This is always fun and challenging. I'll click verify. And I have confirmed that I'm not a robot, but I want to have a ChatGPT account so I can write text that is written by a robot, such as ChatGPT. But I digress. Let's continue. And so now I can set my password that I want. And then once you've set your password, click continue. I'll go ahead and save this to my browser. And the next step is to verify your email. You'll receive an email from OpenAI to confirm your email address for your free ChatGPT account. And here's what that email looks like. Click here to verify your email address. And once you've verified your email, you can enter in your information, first name and last name, and then click continue. And then you can put in your phone number to send a code to then verify. And then you'll receive a code on your phone and enter in that code that they send you. And one thing you'll notice whenever you first get logged in to ChatGPT is that oftentimes there's warnings about there being exceptionally high demand or they're at capacity. So in the next lesson, we'll get oriented with the interface. We'll start working through some examples of using ChatGPT in order to start becoming more familiar with this amazing tool. So once you're logged into ChatGPT, you're greeted with an interface that you can toggle between dark and light mode by clicking here. And so I'm going to turn on dark mode, and you can always return back to light mode as well. And then you may not have any chat history here if you're brand new to ChatGPT. I do have some history here as far as previous chats, and so you can always access previous chats by clicking on them. And so what's nice is that you can revisit previous chats and pick up where you left off. ChatGPT is able to remember its previous responses in context as well. And so whenever you want to create a new chat, just click on new chat. And here on the home page of ChatGPT, you've got your sections for examples, capabilities, and limitations. So you can click on one of these example prompts and make this, if you want, your first prompt. And here would be to explain quantum computing in simple terms. And then you can either hit enter or click send, and then it will type up and give you the response here based on what your prompt was. Now, if it goes on too long, you can always select to stop generating, or also if you would like another response, you can click regenerate response. So I'm regenerating that response, and I'll show you the process of stop generating, and that will stop the generation of the response in its tracks as well. You can always get back to the home screen by clicking new chat, and you notice in my chat history, we can re-access our previous chats here. Other example prompts such as giving creative ideas for a 10-year-old's birthday party. Let me go ahead and stop generating there. And then the third and final one is how do I make an HTTP request in JavaScript? And this is one that will give you example code. And so we will be diving into coding with ChatGPT, along with many more things in the duration of this course. I'll be adding to it often as well. So always feel free to provide comments to me or message me with what you'd like to learn in ChatGPT. I'll add that to this course as well. What's nice about code generation inside of ChatGPT, it does give you that inside of a code box that you can then copy to your clipboard by clicking the copy link at the top right. And that way you can paste that into a text editor or integrated development environment or however you may wish. A few other things to note here is that you can upgrade to ChatGPT Plus by clicking here. ChatGPT Plus is a paid subscription model that is provided by OpenAI. And this provides three main primary functions, and that would be available even when demand is high, so you won't experience lack of availability, which is a problem with ChatGPT Free, which you've got the current free plan here. And then also on the right, it has a faster response speed. I've done videos with speed tests comparing Plus to free, and it is indeed faster. And then as well, priority access to new features. And I am a Plus subscriber. I can attest that I've gotten priority access to new features as well. But please note that you don't have to subscribe to ChatGPT Plus in order to complete this course. You may see me demonstrating some things in Plus if the free side of things is unavailable at the time of this recording. So a few other things in the interface beyond the examples would be the capabilities of ChatGPT. It does remember what the user said earlier in the conversation. That's very powerful by way of accessing previous chat history as well and continuing on. And it allows you to provide follow-up corrections, and this way you can guide ChatGPT. And this has to do with prompt engineering and design. I've got a section on that in this course as well. And also it's important to note that ChatGPT is trained to decline inappropriate requests. And then on the limitations side, it may occasionally generate incorrect information. So as always, you want to verify that which is being generated by ChatGPT. Don't take everything at face value and be sure that it is correct information. And then as well, it may occasionally produce harmful instructions or biased content. And then finally, limited knowledge of the world and world events. And there's a cutoff date of its knowledge of 2021. So there's some ways to work around that. We will brush up against those limitations in this course as well. And I'll also provide feedback on how you can get around that. And then a few other notes here. You can always see what version of ChatGPT you're on by clicking the link down below. This, at the time of this recording, is the February 13th release, and that's how you can access the release notes. I'm going to challenge you to get hands-on with ChatGPT and create your own memorable and unique prompt. And perhaps this will be your first ChatGPT prompt. So first, let's go over what a prompt or a query is in ChatGPT. A prompt, also commonly referred to as a query, is a text input that you send to ChatGPT's model, and the model will generate a response based on that input. Let's get started with creating your own prompt, and I encourage you to think outside the box and make your prompt memorable and unique. So let's imagine a scenario where you use ChatGPT to gather information about the town in which you were born and significant events that took place around the time of your birth. What do you want to know about the town and the events that took place around that time? Maybe you want to know about the major events that shaped the town, the most popular businesses, or the notable people who live there. Once you have an idea of what you want to know, go ahead and create your prompt in your ChatGPT account. Remember to follow along with the demo in your own account for a more hands-on experience. All right, so I put in the prompt here. Tell me more about Tulsa, Oklahoma in 1985. I was not born in Tulsa, Oklahoma, nor was I born in 1985. It may have been a few years before that. But I'm asking it as well, what were the notable events that occurred there during that time? So let's enter that in and see what it comes back with. And so here ChatGPT is telling some information around the Tulsa International Airport in this instance, as well as the Tulsa Zoo. And so bear in mind with your own time of birth and location, this will of course vary or be different, but the purpose behind this is to be sure that it's notable to you and of interest, in this being one of your first, if not your first, ChatGPT query as well, or prompt. And so then whenever we're done, we see the title here in our chat history, and then it gives a summation here after several notable events. And so you may be wondering at this point, how did they do that? Let's dive into that in the next lesson. OpenAI has just announced that they are rolling out custom instructions for ChatGPT. Now, this is currently available to ChatGPT Plus subscribers only, and this allows you to set your preferences, and ChatGPT will keep them in mind for all future conversations. And so here is the press release. This is dated July 20th of 2023. That is today when I'm recording. The pertinent information here that I've highlighted is that ChatGPT will consider your custom instructions for every conversation going forward. The model will consider the instructions every time it responds, so you won't have to repeat your preferences or information in every conversation. So it gives some great examples as well, and you may be familiar with this common frustration if you've used ChatGPT, always having to constantly remind it as to what you do for a living or what sort of code you're developing in. So for example, a teacher crafting a lesson plan no longer has to repeat that they're teaching third grade science. Another example is a developer preferring efficient code in a language that's not Python. They can say it once and it's understood. And then finally, perhaps your grocery shopping for a big family becomes easier with the model accounting for 6 servings in the grocery list. You're maybe wondering how to do this. Let's go over into ChatGPT. I'm in my ChatGPT Plus account. I'll show you how to turn this on and get going with those custom instructions. So I'm going to click on my name down here at the bottom left, and this will bring up my settings option. I'll click on settings, and then under beta features, we'll see that we can turn on custom instructions. Once I've turned that on, I can close this out. So once I've dismissed that window, you will find a new pop-up here under your name. When you click on your name in the bottom left, you'll see a link for custom instructions, and it is here that you can set up those custom instructions. And here are some thought starters, such as where are you based or what do you do for work? The use case here would be if you're wanting, for example, restaurant suggestions by way of a ChatGPT plugin, you could reference or give instructions that you live in a certain area. And so I've completed a couple of those thought starters, instructing that I live in the Nashville area, as well as that I'm an online instructor that teaches Salesforce, ChatGPT, and prompt engineering. Here down below, how would you like ChatGPT to respond? I can say whenever I ask for a list of items, I prefer they be presented in a table format. And you can continue on from there. Other thought starters they provide would be how casual or not you would prefer ChatGPT to be, how do you want to be addressed, and more. Once you've set your custom instructions, you can click Save, and this will be enabled for new chats. And you can turn this on and off by going back and revisiting and toggling this back off. But let me go ahead and save this. And now I will go in and prompt and see if those instructions are taken into account. And so I'm asking for a list of topics. These will be the most challenging topics to learn related to prompt engineering in Chat. Let's see if it presents this in a table. And it does. It gives us the topic and a description of each. It's taken that into account. I can also ask it, what do I teach, to see if it pulls that in from the instructions. And so here is a powerful example of how you can train ChatGPT by way of these custom instructions so that you don't have to start afresh every time. And as a reminder, you can always go back in and turn that off by going back into custom instructions from the bottom left, clicking on your name, selecting the pop-up. You can adjust them or turn it off by disabling for new chats and clicking save. And then if I go into a new chat or new context here and ask, what do I teach? It now is saying it doesn't have access to personal information. So a handy feature that you can toggle on and off at will. So enjoy your ability to provide custom instructions to So OpenAI provides a great documentation set as well as example applications and an API playground. This is all available at platform.openai.com. I'll link to this in the resources section. You start off here when you go to platform.openai.com with an overview section, and this gives you quick start tutorials and some examples you can build as far as for example tasks, and then some applications for ChatGPT. And clicking on one of these will take you into the documentation. You notice we're now in the documentation section. And you can work through some of these different examples here, such as on the one that I'm on is text completion, and it gives you more details on prompt design as well. And be sure and work through some of this as far as the introduction. There's also a quick start tutorial. It takes you through the process of interacting with ChatGPT in the context of the documentation. And here's a sample prompt: suggest one name for a horse, and you can click to generate, and this gives you then a response. And that response would be lightning, and then a follow-up response, or a better prompt might be suggest one name for a black horse. You can generate that, and it gives you the name Midnight for a black horse. And then you can add other examples here and adjust your settings. Now, there's concepts behind the scenes for things such as temperature settings, and there's also 4 different models that are provided that you can use with ChatGPT, and that would be inside of what is known as the playground. So let me click over to the playground here, and the 4 different models are DaVinci, Curie, Babbage, and Ada. And also you'll notice that there's different version numbers for each of these. These may vary over time, but you can hover over these and read more about the different language models, such as DaVinci. It is the most capable and the most powerful of the 4 models, but it has different strengths that you'll notice here down below, such as complex intent, cause and effect, creative generation, search, summarization for audience. Now, others, such as Curie, has strength of language translation, and Babbage would be moderate classification, semantic search, and then Ada would be parsing text and simple classification, address correction, and keywords. And then as well, temperature setting has to do with control of randomness, and so you can always adjust this accordingly and experiment. So here, for example, we could put in a sample prompt, and you can always access the playground as another option if ChatGPT free is unavailable. So I'm going to give a basic prompt here, and in this prompt inside of the playground, I'm asking it to give me a product description for an electric vehicle, and taking the defaults of the DaVinci model and the temperature of 0.7. Also a maximum length of 256. This is the maximum number of tokens to generate. And a note on tokens is the more tokens you use, the more that may end up costing. You do have free credit to use the playground for a certain amount per month, and then at some point you may need to enter in billing information. And you can get more details on the maximum length details here, but roughly 1 token equals about 4 characters for normal English text. So for example, a 1,000 character paragraph would be about 750 tokens, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and submit this with the defaults though, and see what the response is. So here is a paragraph that's giving me as far as a product description for an electric vehicle. And so now what I could do is I could change the model to something a little more basic, such as Ada, and then I could submit again. So I could clear this out, and then I could submit again, and that's a little bit shorter, a little more basic in nature as well. So feel free to experiment with the playground and get more familiar with the different models available, and also you'll find information on the different models inside of the documentation under the models section. This gives you details around the strengths of each of the models, as well as the max request and the training data up to whatever date it may be. And you notice that the cutoff date is older for some of the other models, such as Curie, Babbage, and Ada as well. And then finally, there are examples that you can experiment with as well, such as a Q&A example. And you can open this in the playground by clicking here. And this takes you to the playground with this particular prompt. And so this will give you an example prompt and questions and answers, as well as the API request, actual code that you can use to connect with the API. And here are other examples you could do, such as summarizing for a second grader, grammar correction, SQL translate, and more. And so there's a lot that you can explore in the playground and in the examples and documentation for OpenAI by way of platform.openai. We briefly looked at the Discord community for OpenAI and ChatGPT. I want to take you through the process of completing verification. So if you want to follow along and do likewise, you can join this community as well and get some helpful tips and starting points and read up on what others are doing on ChatGPT as well. So I'm going to click on complete here at the top, and you need to read through the rules and agree to the rules that you'll adhere to the Discord and OpenAI's terms and policies. This is as well an English only server, and there's a lot of other information around keeping the content G-rated, stay on topic, no spamming, etc., etc. Leave it to you to follow the links to read all of this. Once you've read and agree to the rules, you can click the checkbox, click submit. You are then able to click verify under verification required. And here I've got to type in the CAPTCHA below to be able to access this server. It's ironic how we spend more and more time and effort proving that we're not a machine so that we can learn how to use a machine. Clicking submit, I've passed the verification successfully, and so now I can access OpenAI on the Discord server. And here you've got different sections around welcome and announcements, as well as new releases, and I'm going to go to the ChatGPT discussions, and you can see the latest discussions going on here related to ChatGPT, people's feedback and thoughts, perhaps some things that they've tried. Here's some examples of some things that people have done. And here's just one example from someone named Syndicate. I actually can hear the beat explain Terraform in rap style, and gives you a screenshot of ChatGPT explaining Terraform in the style of rap, and it's giving you a lot of rhymes here, so you could always create lyrics as well. So we'll be looking at, throughout the duration of this course, approaches to doing things such as song lyrics, marketing copy, how you can create stories, copywriting, and more around persons, places, and things. You'll also find examples here in the Discord of some things that it struggles with. Here's someone saying, is it me or the AI getting dumb? When I was 6, my brother is half my age. Now I'm 30. How old is my brother? And the answer didn't quite get what Necroxus was after here, for example. So you can connect with others as well inside of the Discord here. You can also look at suggestions and bugs and a lot more. I'll leave it to you to explore the Discord further and get familiar with that. I want to get back into ChatGPT, start a new thread, and I'll see you in the next section where we start to explore content around people, and that will be the next section of this course. An essential skill for everyone is that of communication, and that is exactly what this second section of this course is all about, using ChatGPT to communicate effectively. You'll find that the one near universal requirement across almost every job description is communication. To be understood and to be truly heard is vital in life, whether on the job or in our interpersonal relationships. Frankly, your ability to communicate works as a type of governor to your full potential. Your ability to express yourself in written and spoken form is crucial to your success. In this section, we're going to dive into how you can use ChatGPT to give you an almost immediate boost to your communication skills. While ChatGPT can write virtually anything for you, your ability to design effective prompts and improve them using the prompt wheel will elicit increasingly accurate and insightful responses from ChatGPT. And as always, you will want to review that which ChatGPT produces, never taking a response to your prompt at face value. It is your logic and reasoning and human touch that is needed in leveraging tools such as ChatGPT to boost your communication. It will be up to you to refine and hone those responses to make them truly your own, giving them your own unique voice. Together, we will explore using ChatGPT for communication in its various forms in this section, and by the end of this section of this course, you will have a comprehensive understanding of how to use ChatGPT to communicate effectively. You'll be able to write emails, social media posts, and blog posts with ease. And you'll have a solid understanding of how to use ChatGPT to even optimize your content for search engines. We'll be covering a wide range of topics and applications for ChatGPT, and also by the end of this section, you'll have a full comprehensive understanding of how to use ChatGPT to communicate very effectively. So let's get started. All right, so in this lesson, we'll be exploring the use of ChatGPT for creating ideas. And so I've got a prompt here on my screen that I want to share with you here, and I'm asking ChatGPT to generate 10 ideas for a new marketing campaign. Let me click send on that and see what we get in response from ChatGPT. And these would be different marketing campaign ideas, okay? And so we are about halfway through the list here. We've got influencer campaigns, social media contest, referral program, and much more. I'm going to let that kind of churn in the background as I continue to approach this and take this a bit deeper. I encourage you to review this generated list of ideas and select the ones that you find the most interesting. You always know as well, as a reminder, whenever it's done generating, when you see the title in the chat history here. So you can refine the selected ideas by asking ChatGPT to provide more information or suggestions. For example, here's another follow-up prompt that I could give, such as, can you provide more details on the idea of hosting a virtual event? And in my instance, virtual event was one of the 10, so I'm doing a further refinement. I encourage you to do the same with one that interests you. And here, ChatGPT is answering in the affirmative, certainly. And here are some details on hosting a virtual event. Choose the right platform, list several there, set clear goals, plan your content, promote your event, engage with your audience, follow up after the event, and then a summation there. And as always, with any of these key points in response from ChatGPT, you can always explore those concepts further by providing follow-up prompts to find out more details around whatever it is that you may not be aware of, such as the different platforms for hosting virtual events if you don't know much about Zoom or WebEx, etc. And then as well, setting clear goals. You may need help refining and processing that sort of information, so you can always follow through and dive deeper on any of these key points. So repeat the process of refining these ideas until you have a clear and well-defined concept, and use the generated ideas as a starting point for your project and continue to refine and develop them further. And remember to provide clear and specific prompts and to provide enough context so that ChatGPT can understand the situation. Try to keep your prompts concise and use proper grammar and punctuation. Introducing GPT-4. This is the latest release from OpenAI, the creators of ChatGPT. I want to share my screen and show you GPT-4 in action. And so on the OpenAI website right now, this is the day of the launch of GPT-4. You can learn more about GPT-4, and here gives some examples and use cases for GPT-4. And you can also try it right now on ChatGPT Plus. That is the paid subscription model for ChatGPT, and it has early access to GPT-4 with some limits. I'll tell you more about that when I show it in action. There is a video that describes GPT-4 there, and then also some notes around the creativity, visual input, and longer context that GPT-4 can handle, up to 25,000 words, I might add. So let's get into my own ChatGPT Plus account. I am logged in. You see here that this is ChatGPT Plus. Let me change this to dark mode. And then the default model comes up. That is the old GPT 3.5, and it also notes the different ratings based on reasoning speed and conciseness. So we've got GPT 3.5, legacy GPT 3.5, and now the brand new GPT-4, which rates well for reasoning and conciseness. Speed is not as fast. GPT-4 excels at tasks that require advanced reasoning, complex instruction, understanding, and more creativity. So once I've selected GPT-4, you notice that there is a message that it currently has a cap of 100 messages every 4 hours. So even though I am a Plus subscriber, there are limits, and this will be very much at capacity sometime today because they're getting ready to demo this live in a couple of hours. Let me give this a prompt and put this to the test and see what I can do as far as having it write something pretty long for me. This is a pretty long prompt, but I'm asking to give me a book chapter on this topic, which would be the evolution of employment in the age of AI, and also to add sections on AI's impact on resumes, job interviews, as well as recruiting, and then also to cover automation outlook into the year 2100, as well as a section on how to prepare your AI pivot into a relevant career. And then I'm asking in the end to also provide a total word count at the end. You don't have to copy and paste that which ChatGPT produces into another website or into Microsoft Word to try and get a word count. You can always just ask ChatGPT, now GPT-4, for that word count in the end as well. And so let's see what it comes up with. And you'll notice as well that it's not super speedy, but hopefully it will provide great content for me here. And it will be up to you to decide if this is an improvement compared to GPT 3.5. You can put that to the test if you do have ChatGPT Plus. If you don't, please do leave in the comments below what you would like for me to prompt inside of GPT-4. And if that would be math equations or complex scenarios, be glad to do that, record it, and publish that also. So I am taking requests, put those in the comments. So here are the different sections that it is providing and going in depth and still going as well. I'll be interested to see how many words in the end that this generates. And while that's right, I'm going to scroll up to see some of the top here in order to review what we have. We've got an introduction, and then it's dividing these into section 1, 2, 3, etc., and then numbering the different sections. It's not giving or pontificating fully on each of these, but it's giving a 1 to 2 sentence paragraph for each of these points, and you could ask it to go even deeper on these points as well. So in the end, you probably could get to 25,000 words fairly quickly using GPT-4. And here we have the conclusion rounding it out and a word count of 464 words. So still well below 25,000, of course, but it has done a pretty good job of giving us a good amount of content. So now I'm going to ask it just to give me 500 words on point 5.3 here. Okay, and let's see what that does. I'm prompting, give me 500 plus words on section 5.3 and give me the resulting word count. So I'm going to send that, and then we will see what that produces. So this is breaking this down into subpoints of 5.31, the importance of a growth mindset, and then it's telling us in the age of AI, cultivating a growth mindset is more critical than ever. With the rapid pace of technological advancements and the constant evolution of industries, a fixed mindset, the belief that intelligence and abilities are static, can be detrimental to one's career success. Great sounding paragraphs. I think the quality of the writing seems to be there. I haven't gone real in depth on this, but I plan to, especially now that GPT-4 is out. Now it's continuing on and giving me even some alphabetical subpoints here in one of these sections as far as action steps that the reader could take. And this is section 5.3.2, characteristics of a growth mindset. Things to do to foster a growth mindset, such as embrace challenges, persist in the face of setbacks, value effort, learn from criticism, be inspired by others' success. And as always with any AI-generated content, you want to give it your own voice and not just simply copy and paste. There are AI detection tools out there that can detect that something's been generated by AI. So you may also disagree with some of these points, and so you wouldn't want to be publishing things that you personally disagree with or don't believe in. And so I do always encourage you to review that which is generated by GPT-4 now and add your own spin and voice to it and not just take it in a copy and paste fashion. But as you can tell, we're getting a lot of words here. And so in the conclusion, it's rounding out that one original section into a very lengthy article. I guess it forgot to give me the word count, and perhaps it's not done. Yeah, it hasn't finished. So you'll see this happen in ChatGPT free, is that it will stop generating sometimes, and it's just done that here for me. So I'm going to ask it to continue. So it almost made it to the end, and so here it's picking right back where it left off and stating that in the age of AI, by fostering resilience, adaptability, and a commitment to continuous learning, individuals can better prepare themselves for the inevitable changes and uncertainties that lie ahead. And then it's continuing on. In conclusion, that's always the key that you're looking for, something like that. And this is a pretty involved paragraph as well. So we've just generated from that one original section a word count of 1,061. So you can tell that you could write a book fairly easily with ChatGPT and using the GPT-4 model. As I mentioned earlier, you can leave in the comments what you would like for me to prompt inside of GPT-4, and it just might be my next video. Together we can explore the depths and the weaknesses and strengths of GPT-4. So the learning objective of this section is to advance your career with ChatGPT. And in this section, you will learn how to use ChatGPT to write job search emails, improve your resume, improve your LinkedIn profile, write cover letters, gear your resume based on a specific job description, and even prepare for job interview questions that are most likely to be asked of you based on a job description. So by the end of this section, you'll be equipped with the knowledge and skills to use ChatGPT to take your career to the next level. So let's get started in the next lesson. Now we have entered a new era where the ability to code has now been superseded by the ability to prompt. At its core, prompting is like programming, but instead of being required to learn a new language complete with obtuse syntax and strict rules, you can approach this new programming language not with code, but with your native language and vocabulary. This has frankly burst the doors open for your own personal creativity, productivity, and has made attainable that which was elusive, which was to become a creator. This was an exclusive domain enjoyed by the coding few and has now crossed the chasm to the masses, to the many, and to you. The simple user interface of ChatGPT can be deceptive. It is easy to think that you craft a single prompt and await a well-rounded and perfect response from ChatGPT. What you find with use is that you will rarely encounter a one-and-done prompting scenario inside of ChatGPT. In this section of this course, we will introduce you to the concepts of prompt engineering and design. Here you will learn how to go deeper to develop effective prompts, complete with even asking ChatGPT to help you to write better prompts. We will explore the power of multiple prompt techniques in this section, as well as how to instruct ChatGPT across the spectrum of concise versus verbose responses. So let's start with a ChatGPT prompt engineering and design example in the next lesson. Welcome to Using ChatGPT for Technology. Here we will explore many use cases for how ChatGPT can help provide technological solutions to challenging and all too common problems. If you've used technology for any period of time, you have likely encountered technical issues, compatibility issues, security concerns, user interface navigation challenges, and technical jargon. By the end of this section of this course, you'll know how to use ChatGPT to overcome virtually any technological challenge thrown your way. We'll start with using ChatGPT to overcome technical issues in the next lesson. Welcome to Cracking the Code. This is intermediate development with ChatGPT, and in this section we'll cover several coding examples. Now we've already covered some coding or some basic coding in a previous section, but here we will start with easier tasks and we'll increase the complexity as we progress through this section of the course. It's my hope that for any non-coders that find themselves this far into the course that we can remove the mystery behind code through the powers of ChatGPT. The first step down this path to becoming a coder is discovering how ChatGPT can translate code to human readable text. We'll start our journey in the next lesson. As a language model, ChatGPT can be used for various data-related tasks. In this section of the course, we'll be exploring many of those use cases such as text generation, sentiment analysis, text classification, and answering questions. We'll also provide ChatGPT solutions for data visualization towards the end of this section. Let's get started with using ChatGPT for data management and visualization starting in the next lesson. In this section, we'll cover many advanced techniques for developing with ChatGPT. You'll learn how to use ChatGPT to generate sampled data and create a fake data generator, build a website with ChatGPT, integrate ChatGPT with Visual Studio Code, and develop Python projects using ChatGPT, and a lot more. By the end of this section, you'll have a solid understanding of how to develop with ChatGPT and be equipped with the tools and knowledge needed to build advanced applications using this cutting-edge technology. If you're ready to take your ChatGPT development skills to the next level, let's get started. I'll see you in the next lesson.